Let's take a look at these wonderful PokeTokens that are made by Broken Egg Games. These are used as counters, damage counters for your games, as well as condition markers for burn, poison, confuse, sleep, and paralyze. And they're available in all the different energy types. So let's take a look at each one and see the pros and cons of using these. Welcome to a review video by Lady K's Poke Garden. So let's first take a look at the status or condition markers. You get 5 of these for $6. Once again, that's at brokenegggames.com. The first one is a poison, then you get a burn, a sleep, paralyze, and confuse. And if you're confused as to why you even need the last 3 of these, let me explain to you what I see happen so many times both at tournaments and at league play when people are learning to play the game. So you get that awesome full art Mewtwo EX in your hand and you're so excited to finally get to play with him. And on your opponent's turn, they play a Hypnotoxic Laser, okay? So they roll heads and you are asleep and you're poisoned, but do I turn it left? Do I turn it right? Or was it upside down for asleep? I honestly can't remember. So you have to pull out this giant mat that comes with your theme deck to figure out that, oh, right, when I'm asleep, it's to the left. I remember now. And now you've lost your train of thought, and you yourself are confused as to what's going on in the game state, just to try to remember which way to turn your Pokemon. Whereas if you have these really cool markers, all you have to do is put a poison and a sleep, and you're good to go, and you don't have to figure out which way to turn your Pokemon for what condition. So that's really, really good for people who are starting to play the game. And honestly, even for people who have veterans and played for a very long time, it's one less thing to have to think about while you're playing, which can be a bonus. So looking at these individually, they are very, very nicely constructed. Both the front and the back, obviously poison's backwards, but you can see the logo on each side. There's the burn. The sleep one is really cool. It's got like a moon that's having some Z's and a sleep hat on. And there's a paralyze. And then there's a confuse. So pretty cool. How these compare with what you can get from a normal gameplay or normal places. In a theme deck, you can get damage counters and status markers, but these are printed on a flimsy, I wouldn't even call it cardboard, probably paper stock or card stock. In terms of the damage counters themselves, popped out, they look like this. On the back, they're both white, so if you're digging, trying to find the right one, you can grab the wrong one. And as you can see on this one, they're very flimsy. They break really, really easily, fold in half. Inside Elite Trainer kits, you can get these acrylic markers, which are very nice, but they're white on the backside, which is a downside, once again, if you're trying to find the right one really quickly. How these compare is, here's the 2 poisons, so the ones from Broken Egg Games are just a slight bit bigger. And on the back, you can kind of still see what it is. And here's the burn. Plus, I mean, a burn for a flame makes more sense than a band-aid. I don't really know what a band-aid's going to do for a burn. So, I'm a big fan of these condition markers. I think they're great for both veteran players. They're a nice way to bling up your deck, have something a little extra, and have a little less to think about while you're playing. And great for beginners who, you know, are just new into the game. It's a lot easier to learn these than try to figure out which way to turn a card when you're asleep or paralyzed or confused. So next, we're going to take a look at the damage counters. So here's a look at the PokeToken damage counters. They make 1 for each energy type. I don't have them all here, but they did send me a good cross sample of different energy types. On the left you have fighting, then colorless, then grass, water. In the middle and the front here, I just have the 1 type of the dragon, which is pretty cool. It's a gold one. Darkness, electric, and fairy all the way to the right. And these are wonderfully well done. Some of them are translucent. I believe the dark metal and dragon type are not translucent, so these are black on the background for dark. I think these are black. I don't have any of the metal ones, but I'm pretty sure they're very similar to the dragon. They're just silver on the front rather than gold. So these are very nice. You can purchase 1 of each. They also have a package where you can get pretty much all of them as well. In a package of 1 energy type, you get 10 of the 10 damage, 1 of the 100, and 3 of the 50 damage type. And I believe one package like that is $10. And that is on brokenegggames.com. So now let's break this down and take a look at what these look like in play and what I think about these, both positive and negative. So here's a nice aerial view of what this looks like with damage counters on them. So here's a Charizard. He's got a stack of what looks like 50 electric energies, and here is a Virizion EX, which has 3 grass energies kind of scattered about. Here is a Raichu. He's got 50 plus another 10, and an Eviltal with 100. And these are all different types of energy PokeTokens on there. What I kind of like about these is that you can stack them like poker chips, and in between while you're waiting for your opponent to go, it's just something else to play with. Or you can kind of put them out and still be able to see the card through it. You can still read everything through these PokeTokens, which is pretty nice. Nice thing is the 50 marker is different than the 10 marker, so you can put them down separately and add up that damage pretty quickly. The 100 damage counter is pretty nice as well. In case you're wondering what it looks like with another 10 on it, there's the comparison. So also pretty easy to stack that way. Downfall is sometimes if you stack this high, it's kind of hard to see if there's 40 or 50 damage. I mean, it's pretty easy to go ahead and count through that. You can also, because of how these are done, kind of swivel them. So you're setting up the damage that way, which is an option. What I also like about these in comparison to dice is for new players, or even for veteran players that are, in a high stress tournament, it's a lot easier to add another 10 damage on than sometimes if you have a damage dice, and I'm using the Furious Fist dice here from the Elite Trainer box. And if you pick this up, you get distracted by a noise or something else, and now you don't really remember how much damage was on there. And do you do the math right? Do you trust your opponent to do the math right? Especially if you're not paying attention to what they're doing. It's just a chance for somebody to turn the dice to the wrong amount, either yourself or the opponent. And it's not always intended, but it does sometimes happen, and you have to kind of go back and try to figure out how much damage was on there, and then whose word do you take without being too upset at each other. Which is a downfall of dice. Downfall of these damage markers is you get 10 of these 10 damage, you get 3 of the 50, and 1 of the 100 in a pack. And currently with the way the game state is and how much damage you're doing, especially with a lot of decks being spread damage, you might need more than just 1 of these damage PokeToken packages in order to have enough damage counters or PokeToken damage counters to really put them all over your bench. But they are really, really pretty. I mean, look at those little leaves. They're just so cute. I think it's just a nice way to bling out your deck if you're a veteran player. And if you are a beginner, especially in the juniors division, you're 6, 7 years old, your child is playing, it can be really hard for them to try to conceptualize if something has 40 damage. Now I have to add another 20. That's pretty easy. But if it's 40 damage and now I have to add 80, well, yeah, it would turn into 120, but can someone who's 6 really say, okay, I put the 6 and now what do I do with this dice? Does it stay like that? It's a lot easier to add these damage counters on, which is a huge, huge bonus. They're also really, really well made. These are pretty thick. They're not gonna snap in half. I mean, you can try as you might, they're not gonna snap in half. They're really, really nice. Price-wise, they compare very, very well. For example, one of these Chess X is usually retail $10 to $14, depending on what store you get it in. These retail for $10 on brokenegggames.com. So it's price comparable, but like I said, you're probably, in some instances, especially against damage spreading decks, you might need more than 1 of these. But it's always a good place to start just to get one and see how they look. But these are gorgeous. So this is how they look on different cards. As you can see, you can still read the attacks even through the translucent ones. Obviously, if you were to get a dark one, those are not translucent and you cannot read through them, but they still look pretty cool. they're going to compare a lot better to the than the ones you get in the theme decks. It'd be a lot nicer, because these, no matter if you have a 10 damage counter or 50 damage or 100 for that matter, they're white on the back, and they're really small, flimsy, easy to break, and if you stack them, they look exactly the same. So this is really, really cool system. You're still going to need to have either a coin to flip with or a clear translucent dice to roll for heads or tails. But these are really, really nice for damage. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I am going to be doing a giveaway in conjunction with Broken Egg Games. I'm going to give away a whole pack of the fighting type. It's going to include 10 of the 10s, 3 of the 50s, and 1 of the 100s. Do the same for the colorless energy type, which I think honestly these might be my favorite because they're really, really easy to see through. And we'll do the same with the grass type for this video. So if you are interested in entering for a giveaway, there are a few rules. Number one, you do have to be in the US because I'm not able to ship these overseas at the moment. And rule number 2 is you have to share this video, like it, and in the comments section below post what your impressions are of these PokeTokens, and maybe which one are your favorite, or what your favorite thing is about them. So once again, share the video and post in the comments below what you're excited about, and I will go ahead and enter these. We'll say that the contest entries have to be in by September 17th. At that point, I will do a video about who won. And in the meantime, go ahead and check out Broken Egg Games. They do have a lot of different PokeToken counters for different energy types. I don't have them all to show you here, so this is just an assortment. And they do also make a lot of other really neat products for different board games and card games to help you really raise the level of your play. Hope you enjoyed this review video on Lady K's Poke Garden. Make sure you subscribe, stay tuned. Got plenty of pack openings and other videos to come for you soon. See you then. Bye.